What do you think about the pastor that got robbed in church? I need your take on that. I mean, so many people have already covered this, but I just want your take on the flat sheet. He from New York, right? Ain't that from? Ain't
I'm
that?
from
Ain't he
Brooklyn. Yeah.
from? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Wow.
Is he scamming? Is he scamming or
Nah.
what?
Yeah. I've been antagonistic towards Christians for a very long time, right? And as I continue to go on this spiritual journey, I um I watched that. I heard him say something like, they saw my Rolls Royce truck or my Rolls Royce car, and I heard somewhere that was reported that he had like $400,000 worth of jewelry on. And I have a problem with that, right?
Hold
I
on.
have a problem.
Also, his house, he's got a $4.4 million estate that he lives in, him and his wife.
Well, in New York, depending, that might not be, that might be different. Because the house I grew up in right now is going for 2 million. And it's just a brownstone. So put it in perspective. Look at the Cosby. Remember the Huxtables, the
I
Cosby
love
show?
that house. Yes.
Back in the 90s, my house would be similar to that, right? A little bit bigger. Those houses were worth 200,000. 20 years later, they're worth 2 million. So it's really, so if it could be at 2 million, if he got a $4 million house in New York, you got to put it in perspective. So it might be 6,000 square feet because it's where it's at. It's not like he's, uh,
That's still huge.
yeah, but who else is living with him? How big is his family? Right. So it's hard. Like looking at the house is kind of different, right? In New York, right?
Okay.
If that was a house in Houston, a
Or
six
George,
million dollar house,
didn't you? Okay.
then you could scale it properly. But when
Okay.
we're looking at jewelry and we're looking at cars, I'm really, especially as it pertains to religion, I have an issue with people being ostentatious, right? And oftentimes when you're dealing with these people, especially in those communities, there's a lot of poverty. And I shouldn't be pushing $100,000 car when you're struggling to pay your light bill. Unless I had my own business before then, and my own business is what paid that way. But even then, I would be more generous. At least, and I can't judge what he does, but I just feel like it's just not a good look, for lack of a better term. Like he should be a little bit more conscious of how his conduct and how he presents himself is impacting his, what's it called, parishioners or his congregation or whatever it's called. So I'm I'm really wasn't feeling it. I found it um, amusing, almost like divine justice. However, the part I will say is there were other people there,
Yeah.
family, kids.
Children.
So that's not, I don't find none of that funny. But the
Right.
fact that this wealthy preacher, relatively rich preacher, you know what I'm saying, got robbed, yo, you should have been doing it, man. You should have been more, be like the people amongst you, man. You don't have to, you know, people be going to church giving they last and they're starving. They're struggling financially. Why? Why have $400,000 worth of jewelry on? Like, I'm more than willing for anybody explain that, justify it to me, justify
Well,
it biblically.
his justification for wearing it, I heard him say in an interview, was that he does it to
Inspire what? Being
inspire others
ostentatious.
to get their money up like him.
See, all right, so now we being materialistic, right? Because now you in church, right? And you trying to get your money up. And even though my understanding, and I'm kind of new to this stuff, so let me be fair. Like that's being incredibly worldly. Like you need money to survive in this world, and that's cool. But this is almost opulence. The median household income is about 60,000, right?
Yeah.
The median house cost recently across the nation is like 400,000. You in a house that people can't even afford around your neck. People don't need to get their money up like that. That's the kind of stuff that drives people. It's like avarice, right? It's not, hey, I need this money for security so I can have this security blanket and live comfortably and go and do good in the world. It's, oh, I need to get my money up. So you know what? I'm gonna compromise my morals and my integrity. I'm gonna go rob this old lady. I'm gonna go sell drugs in my community. I'm gonna pimp this young sister and exploit the community so that I could get my money up. Because that's oftentimes what people resort to. People not getting their money up because they going to medical school or because they going to lawyers, they becoming lawyers, or they starting some real beneficial business. They oftentimes get their money up by hustling and resorting to some sort of criminal activity. So that's what you're really inspiring. And you're telling people that happiness is automatically tied to material items, right? And the material items is meaningless. The freedom that the money brings and the opportunities and the flexibility and the options, yeah, that's great. But a chain? Come on, man. A car? The average millionaire drives like a $30,000-$40,000 car. And $30,000 based upon stats from 15 years ago. So now let's just say $40,000, right? But an average millionaire drives a car that's like $40,000. They're not driving a $200,000 car. So what message are we actually communicating to our community?
Right.
Right. And I feel like that's harmful. You're in a leadership position, but I also believe, better yet, that sometimes people just don't know better. Right. So, and I don't want to be all religious, but that part in the Bible where, and I think that we talked about this recently, where Jesus is like, yo, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Based upon some of my personal experiences, I realized like sometimes we do harm and we just don't realize that we're doing harmful things. You know what I'm saying? It takes us to have an awakening, an epiphany for us to get to that point. Like, oh, you know what? That was destructive. You know what I'm saying? So he probably just don't know yet. Or he just don't care.
It could be one of the two or both. But I know a lot of times, just like even with people online, a lot of times in order to draw a certain demographic in, they feel like they have to flaunt and show certain things because it's what attracts people. So he may be looking at it from that point too. Like, maybe I can draw the young men in. If they see I got this, I could help. They'll listen to me more because I'm flossing and I got this, you know what I'm saying? And if they're hearing the word of God, that might turn them, you know what I'm saying? Just like, people you see online who are more attractive, you know what I'm saying? People will listen to them quicker or watch their content faster because of how they look, which draws people in. So he might be coming from that aspect,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's marketing, and I understand all that, and it plays on psychology. But what you initially said was he was trying to inspire people to get their money up. So
that's what he said. Yes, that's what he said.
So based upon them words, it's not, hey, I'm doing this to market or I'm trying to be relatable to people. It's I'm trying to get them to get their money up. So you're teaching average, right? And average being, just for clarification, because I hate when people misconstrue things. People say money is the root of all evil, but that's not what, and they're getting that from a Bible quote, but it's a misquote. It said that it's not money is the root of all evil. It says love of money is the root of all evil. And it don't even say love, it say avarice, right? My understanding. So that's like an extreme greed. So we know we need money, we need resources to survive. But when you have that extreme greed, once again, that's what leads to the crack epidemic. You know what I'm saying? In conjunction with poverty and everything else that led to our condition. But that extreme desire, that extreme greed is the thing that makes you compromise your morals, your values, and your integrity.